Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. A little bit of a last minute stream today. I've got a Nations Cup game between Team Canada, Team Belarus. So we'll go ahead and get started with that now. I will turn the video over. Now, I will say we lost the first couple of action rounds. So Team Canada is playing as the USA, Belarus the USSR. And we're going to play this video at double speed because it's a team game. So let's just get right to it. So Team Canada opened with Marshall. Belarus opened with a captured Nazi. Belarus tried a one-up coup in Iran and was successful, rolled a 5. At that point, Team Canada countered with 2 Egypt, 1 Jordan, 1 Lebanon. Excuse me, not 1 Lebanon, 1 Malaysia. At which point, Belarus used Purge to take Iraq, Syria, and then put 1 in South Korea. Now, Team Canada just used Korean War. It failed, and they put the 2 back into South Korea. So the question now becomes, is Belarus willing to use the China card to take South Korea? And they will. So interestingly, a 4-op used in the headline, a 4-op used in AR1, a 4-op used AR2. So right away, we are down to just NATO and NTB left in terms of the 4-ops. And then, of course, NTB still in the Canadian hand. Canada looking at using C5 now, getting their mill ops. And they try the coup. It does not work, predictably. Would have needed a 5 to even remove anything. So Belarus now at DEFCON 3. Certainly we'll see decall here if they have it. Maybe even destall. Yeah, they do have it. So we'll see 1 Thailand. Oh, all 4 Southeast Asia. I don't understand that at all. Hate that play with a passion from Belarus. I do not understand 4 in Southeast Asia. I think at least one of those has to go in Africa, unless I was perhaps using very strong language there, perhaps too strong, unless they have CIA and they feel the need to get rid of it. But even so, I don't think I would concede all of Africa just to be able to get rid of CIA safely. So Team Canada takes Thailand, and with China already used, yep, okay, there is CIA, so they do have it. I still don't like that play. I would rather just, because if you put 1 in Thailand and 1 in maybe Laos or Indonesia and 2 in Africa, you're going to eat a coup in Africa, but you at least keep some of Africa, and you get a good coup target for the next turn. Yeah, reasonable people could disagree, but I really don't like the decision from Team Belarus to use all of decall in Southeast Asia and none in Africa, even with CIA in their hands. Team Canada thinking about whether they want to coup again, save the VP, take DEFCON down to 2. Notably, blockade is in the Belarusian hand. So that is important to know. Probably won't see it triggered here. Probably will see containment on AR6. They will go for the coup themselves, and they take the shot at Panama. Okay, AI war. Interesting, going for a break. Oh, and the 6 from Belarus. Okay, so they are going to go for the break on Iraq. Belarus presumably will counter with containment. Yeah, I think perhaps that was a play, not necessarily because they were hoping the break would accomplish something, but because they wanted to make sure Belarus didn't respond by triggering containment. Now I would assume the play here is Vietnam and maybe a poke of Iran and a take of Libya. Yeah, this isn't bad. That gives you access to Pakistan and Middle East Dom. I think I like this play. Also, hold IP war. Don't need to worry about overprotecting Thailand just yet, given Belarus used China. Yeah, I like this play. Okay, so Belarus with a 4 VP lead. And what scoring comes? Okay, Canada will get both scorings. Yep, Middle East, the clear headline. And with Nasser in hand, perfectly safe for an easy 3 VP. And then a tough decision coming for Belarus. They'll want to coup Panama, certainly, but they'll probably have to content themselves with coupping Iran just to make sure they don't give up Pakistan. Not a great hand here for Team Canada. But they will pick up their 3 VPs from Middle East. They do have a 4 op. They will get their mill ops. Okay, yeah, there was a server issue, so that's what happened there. Okay, de Gaulle. So there are no 4 ops available. Keep that in mind, folks. There are no 4 ops available to potentially take France and go into Pakistan. So they're just going to take France, and now Canada with the coup. If they want. They can also just take Pakistan, which stops Asia Dom. Yeah, I kind of like this play. You give up the coup, but you stop Asia Dom in a region where it looked like you were way behind before. Now, you did have. It's not like you got it for nothing. They had to put 1 into Jordan. They had to break Iraq. They had to break Iran. But in order to get there. But the break of Iran did get Canada a Middle East Dom. So that certainly isn't nothing. And now if Belarus wants to coup, the Canadians will get out of Asia for even. And the only way Belarus can realistically take Dom back is by taking India. But again, no 4 ops out there. So, yeah, if this is India, no. Oh, I don't understand that at all. I'm not sure I like that because now the Canadians can still dump Asia, and that's exactly what they'll do. Yeah. Yeah, and that's got to be very frustrating for Belarus to spend all 4 decall ops in Southeast Asia and come out of Asia with exactly 0 VP. Team Canada gives up France and the coup for their part. So they're probably not pleased about that, but very happy to get out of Asia for nothing. Okay, EEU, this should be a 3-op coup, I presume, on Panama. CIA gone. Yep, and there it is. Oh, and a 1. Brutal 1 there. And now this needs to be a take of Algeria and Angola. And maybe 1 India. Maybe think about 1 India here. Although I'm not sure it's necessary. I don't like that. I'd much rather have Algeria with Middle East scored. Okay, so Team Canada decides to go over the top in Iran and flip it over, and as well as getting into Angola. They do not take Algeria, which is interesting. I think that would have been my play. Okay, and this will be Algeria and India, which makes sense. I think you fire off the war here. Will they hit it? They will miss by 1. So the Belarusians will keep Asia Dom for now, but they didn't score it. There's blockade. Yep, the Comic-Con had to be held for that. Truman into Zaire, I assume, will be the play here. You went into Angola, you've got to get into Zaire. And then I think you hold Nasser to see if Middle East comes turn 3. And there goes Fidel, just overprotecting. So Comic-Con could be a Cameroon situation. Perhaps an overprotective Pakistan. Perhaps Afghanistan, Panama. Let's see where they'll go. They're going to break India. Okay, going to stop Dom in Asia to see if they redraw it. Not good redraws here. Special Indy Reds, which does nothing. Formosan. And a Middle East redraw. Wow, okay. So I poo-pooed Canada's play to flip over Iraq and concede Algeria, but it works out great for them. That's an immediate 4VP flip. And now they can get rid of Nasser painlessly. Destall the headline from Belarus, thanks to that Comic-Con play. They'll have plenty of food there. Could be, so probably see 2 out of, probably see 1 Yugo, 1 Bulgaria, 1 Finland, and then maybe 1 out of Vietnam, perhaps. Heck, maybe even 1 out of Syria with Middle East being scored now. Okay, they're going to repair India, go Venezuela. Yep, Venezuela, Nigeria, Chile, that makes perfect sense. And we'll see if Canada wants to try the miracle realigns here. Or if they will just be content to spread out. Not a ton for Canada to do with their ops. They want to overprotect Zaire. They need to take Panama, Mexico. Saudi, not that important. Maybe Malaysia, Philippines could be relevant. You do want to overprotect Thailand at some point, even with China in your hand. Okay, so Canada uses special to go 1 Colombia and 1 somewhere else that they go 1 Japan. And that makes sense. Okay, there's NORAD. That's going to be, so this is quite a NORAD-friendly board. For Team Canada, if they're able to fill up Canada, which I think they will do. Iraq, a good target. India, a good target. A lot of overprotecting to do here on turn 3. Panama and Mexico need, so it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 ops available. Probably hold UN with this hand. 1 to Panama, 2 Mexico, 2 Canada, so that's 5. Maybe a flip of Nigeria, maybe a poke of Venezuela, poke of Algeria, something like that. Oh, that is an annoying redraw for Belarus after Canada filled Japan. Yep, and they're going to have to give back China. So they go ahead and overprotect both Thailand and Pakistan. Could have used NATO and just overprotected Thailand. They decide to just go ahead and use China. There goes duck to space. That'll miss. Yeah, 1 Mexico makes sense. The Zaire flip still in play. South Africa also still in play. Another VP for Team Canada. And we missed that. Defectors went presumably into the bottom half of South America because I do not see it anywhere else. And there's a 5-year plan of Europe. Yeah, we didn't see Europe scored. So it would have been just the 1 VP. And yeah, Max is on Team Canada. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so Panama and Mexico need to be taken here. A poke of Algeria makes sense, given us, particularly given NORAD. And here we go, turn 4, Africa. So Team Canada hoping to get out of Africa for maybe just for a small number. We also get South African. So CMC makes some sense as a headline here. You don't get your NORAD op, though. But with Belarus not in Cuba, I think it makes sense. Belarus could take Dom in the headline, but it's unlikely they'll be able to hold it with if they're unable to coup. CMC does make some sense here. The Pope makes sense as well. But with Europe scored, not a big threat. They do go with the CMC headline. Ooh, a purge. Now, what is that purge really going to do? Suez is not particularly painful, and it could go to space anyway. The Pope's an event. Ussuri's an event. You've got a couple of one-ops. South African will be UN. This is going to be a pretty ineffective purge unless Belarus has blockade in hand or other cards or perhaps wants to fight in Japan. But yeah, this looks like just a one-op purge. Okay, influence to take back. Yeah, that makes sense. I think you just dump Africa immediately. Why? Not sure I understand that at all. I think I would much rather just score. Oh, there goes South America for 8. I think you've got to score. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why Zaire had to be overprotected before Africa was scored. That didn't make any sense to me. But okay. So they do give up the 2. So now down 8 is Belarus. Excuse me, now down 8 is Canada. There goes IP War for the event, and it misses. So they will, that's got to be a disappointment for Team Canada. Belarus will get their mill ops. There goes the Pope. Oh, Portuguese just repairs it. I think Suez will go to space. They'll get the 1 VP back. Yep. So Canada potentially could have waited until the end of the turn, particularly with Truman in their hand, but they decided to just go ahead and do it in the middle of the turn. I don't mind that. Just kind of run the clock a little bit while you're purged. Force Belarus to spend an AR doing something other than bullying you. Okay, there goes Bear Trap to space. The Belarusians will hit the roll. Truman down in Malaysia to grab a VP makes sense. But yeah, unfortunate scoring timing here. Oh, and Fidel. So they did have Fidel, and they could coup if they wanted to. But I do not suspect that they will, given the situation with Milops. Oh, well, forget about that. One gets him out in Real Line gets him out in 1. So just completely neuters Fidel, and that is unfortunate. Even with Europe scored, now West Germany has to be emptied. So Team Canada needs central scoring to come around quickly. That is not the scoring they needed. Looks like that one was going to be even, but some big ops here along with grain and 1 small step. So this is a good hand for the Canadians. Let's see if they can use it to kind of get back in this game. No power cards, though, and we haven't seen Junta, ABM, or Brush. 1 small step, good to have. Salt, good to have. And they're hoping just to see a Missile Envy headline here, which would be a nice GG. Libs is almost exactly the headline they're hoping not to see. Camp David, I think this is just a coup, right? And then you're going to give up one of Mexico or Panama. Certainly Belarus, I would imagine, would go... Okay, they are not going to coup. And they're just going to overprotect Mexico and Panama. You're still giving one up, though. Right? Isn't this just 2 into Panama, 1 Cuba? Okay, 2 Mexico, 1 Haiti. Interesting. Okay, so they're just not going to even bother taking a country. They're just going to go ahead and score. Now, this is a situation where you might go with, if you weren't down 8, you might go with the 5 op, we will bury you. You can trigger we will bury you, do something like jam Poland or Algeria, and then you get a 5th op with NORAD, and you could completely flip Algeria here, as if it were Thailand with the China card or something like that. But Africa is scored. You could put 3 in Poland, which then becomes 4. You could just refill West Germany, but I think the Canadians really don't want to give up those VPs. And the other issue is Muslims is a problem with Iran sitting at 4-2. Quagmire, obviously a problem with NORAD active. You don't want to really play any of those cards. And the Canadians decide they just want to retake West Germany. And they're going to presumably give up a coup here with NORAD. Canada, though, needs to make something happen. I said they needed Central to come up quickly, and it did, but they only got one VP out of it. Alliance is just going to be another one VP. There's a coup in Africa, and now, staring down the barrel of an Africa control. Okay. Gonna go China and flip Indonesia, but that doesn't give you Dom, is the issue. Yep, 4 battlegrounds to 2. Now, of course, I think you'll see Afghanistan taken here, presumably. Now, IP war is gone. I believe AI war is around. Brush is around, and talking about flower power stuff. Korean war is gone. But yeah, we will bury you, Muslims and Quagmire, all cards you just can't give right now. So if you event Salt, so clearly you want to space 1, hold 2. Now if you event Salt, because you played China, you can also hold 3 cards if you want. Maybe hope to get Kennedy next turn. Yeah, Southeast Asia flip does make some sense here. Flip in Laos. Save a couple of VPs, but they need to take Philippines. Yeah, there goes Afghanistan, 1 Philippines. So now, yeah, this has to be an event. So 2 VPs for Team Canada. And 7 countries for Belarus. So Canada needs to take Philippines and Taiwan if they want to get Dom. Or they need to flip over Laos or Indonesia. Yeah, I think you do this. They're going, oh, Salt for UN. I like this play. You trigger We Will Bury You. And then UN, one of the other bad cards. Now, the problem, of course, is Missile Envy. Missile Envy, you're going to eat the 3 VPs anyway. But the 5-op We Will Bury You is once again in play. Also, it is AR5. So if you're going to do the We Will Bury You play, you have to do it next AR, then you win on AR6, and then score on AR7. A little bit awkward, particularly because you need mill ops here. So the Canadians could have just cooed with Camp David, and Africa would be even now instead of 4-0 in favor of Belarus. They decided not to coup and just to overprotect in Central. We'll see how that pays off for them. And they still are able to only score Central for 1. I don't know that I love that line of play from the Canadians, but we'll see what Belarus decides to do here. Not worried about CIA. CIA is gone. Grain also gone. Duck also gone for that matter. CMC gone. You could see, I suppose you could see a How I Learned play. Ooh, nuke subs for a coup on Thailand? A 1-op coup on Thailand with it overprotected? I don't understand that at all. Okay, so I think this is just a We Will Bury You battleground coup, right? And then you get the NORAD op out of it. You get your mill ops and the NORAD op. Yeah, I mean, it's a big number, but it's also under salt. I like the Africa coup. Yeah, and they will roll the big number. And there's NORAD. What's NORAD going to do? Could be Mexico. I think Mexico would be my play. I'm going to poke Algeria. Okay, that makes sense too. And just a one-op repair. So no missile envy. And the Canadians will keep their VP. One play could have been one Philippines. And then you could flip Lao and take Philippines on AR6 with Muslim for an extra VP. I still think Mexico's fine here. They'll go South Africa instead. Okay. And AR7 will be the scoring, and they'll get presumably one VP out of it. This could be another Lao flip. Nope, they're going to lose one VP out of it. Okay, but they do get rid of We Will Bury You in Muslim for no cost. Quagmire's still in hand, and here we go to turn 6. Pretty good hand here. Missile Envy could be a good headline. Cultural on AR1, because then Belarus would not be able to play China. And Quagmire can go to space. This other stuff. VOA is an event. Nixon's an event. Sadat is an event. Panama's probably an event too with NORAD in play. Quagmire to space. You hold Kennedy. Sakov's pause is NORAD. See what the Belarusians give up. They'll give up NTB. DEFCON up to 5. And they'll just coup right back down to flip Angola. That makes sense. This has to be cultural here. This has to be cultural here. Okay, they don't use cultural. Perhaps thinking that the Belarusians are not going to use China. Just try the one-op coup in Lao. Asia, the only scoring that's out there. So the Belarusians know there's a good chance Canada has it. Canada now with 7 countries to just 6 for Belarus. So they'll need to take Philippines if they want to stop this Dom. Yeah, and there it is. Play China. I do not understand the decision not to play cultural there. I think you always want to get rid of it. And now this is awkward. If you want to take it back, you've got to use Kennedy for ops. Yeah, and that's just that's a mistake, I think, by Team Canada. I would have liked to see them play cultural, not have it rot in their hand. Now they got to space one, hold the other. You can't get cultural out for free. Space Quagmire, hold Kennedy. Yep, and now the Canadians looking at this point to just brute force an Asia Dom. I don't know what the 4-op situation is. The red 4s are all gone. Blue 4s, not sure if we've seen NATO. But we have seen the other 2. And then we have seen Purge and we've seen NTB. So they could have ABM. Okay, they're going to ignore that. Oh, and flip Mexico. That's a big roll. Okay, so the Canadians will get their Asia scoring off for 6. But at what cost, man? At what cost? I don't know if Belarus would have been that excited to play China to coup Thailand if cultural had been played. Okay, there's a space of Quagmire. The roll hits. Canada's still just sitting at 2. I wonder if they will play. You could see Canadians play cultural, give away China, and then Nixon to take it right back. But I guess you don't want to let them hold 3 cards through the reshuffle by playing China twice. This is a tough board for Team Canada. The Middle East looks good. Asia looks good, but Africa and South America are disasters. Central is maybe a little bit better. I think you need to take back West Germany and you need to take back Canada with NORAD in effect. And influence just 1 into Saudi with puppets coming. Take South Africa. Make sure you don't get controlled in Africa. Okay, here we go, turn 7. Oh boy, what a hand here, turn 7. ABM, Brush, and Junta. We did not see any of them until turn 7, and Canada gets them all. They also get Decall, which is unspaceable. Cultural is spaceable. They get puppets. Oh, and a Kennedy redraw. Wow. So I criticized them for having to punt Kennedy for ops, and they just get it right back. What a hand here. This is Canada is definitely behind in this game, but this is exactly the type of hand that you get to get yourself back in the game. ABM, Brush, Junta, Salt and Missile are gone. But yeah, and then Kennedy. Wow. Okay. So how I learned the headline. I wonder if we'll just see a Junta here. Maybe a Junta of Brazil. Play China to hold Decall and Kennedy. Yeah, you could do that. Decall's a problem on this board, particularly in Southeast Asia. Oh, and a big roll on Junta. You could do that. The problem is I don't know if you want to give up China is the problem with potential DEFCON situations coming into play. The other thing is although maybe you want to play China, you want to hold EEU. That could be a good hold card as well. I assume Belarus will just keep DEFCON at 2 here and coup Colombia. They will coup DEFCON at 2, and they will coup Colombia and not roll particularly well. And they know about Brush and they know about ABM. And EEU, a boosted EEU would be so huge in Eastern Europe in the late war. However, Warsaw is around. So we've got to keep that in mind. Plus, this hand is a little bit short on ops. Puppets, potentially an event. ABM, obviously an event. Cultural to space. Kennedy, probably a hold. So not much here. The other thing is Romanian gives domination to Team Belarus. So you need to have West Germany covered by then so you can use the 1-op to take, Portugal, potentially take Canada. And a Brush of Venezuela, huge roll here. This would even up South America. Hit on this roll, even up South America. Miss on the roll, and Uruguay gets taken in perhaps your back where you started, and they miss. They rolled a 2. And what do you know, folks? J.R. Jones has joined the chat. J.R., how you doing? So glad to have you on board. And we see the missed Brush right away. Puppets isn't bad here. Potentially, I think Uruguay needs to be taken, though. I think you've got to take Uruguay, don't you? Okay, this is ABM. to turn NORAD back on in anticipation of ABM. And question is, what's your ABM coup target? Is it Venezuela? Boy, you need a 4 in Venezuela. Mexico, just a 2 flips it. Could go Algeria as well. JR, no comment on how Brush is a stupid card. I'm very surprised. We'll see how the Canadians handle Decall here. Decall is a problem card in both Africa and in Southeast Asia. Puppets, though, could presumably take Vietnam, Indonesia, and then one somewhere else, maybe Cameroon, maybe Uruguay. Maybe Guatemala if you're not going to use ABM on Mexico. Yeah, I'm sure the Canadians would have liked to have that one on this board. Got a space, and they'll miss out on the key 3 VPs. That would have been big. Okay. So yeah, I think you've got to dump Central here. You dump Allende. Of course you dump Gunman. One small step. And yeah, I think you're going to go ahead and get rid of all of these, hoping to get some more impactful cards for the late war. You do have 2 Dobbs on the board, Middle East and Asia. You finally have a foothold in South America. Okay, so now this certainly won't be Mexico. Is it going to be Algeria? It's going to be Angola. Yeah, that makes sense. And then this one, presumably Algeria. Algeria seems better unless you're worried about getting realigned out at +2. But okay, that seems fine. Now Romanian, pretty harmless. Does give a non-battleground, of course, meaning Reformer gives Dom, as does Pershing. So Pups could go into Vietnam, Indonesia. Could go Saharan, Cameroon, Zimbabwe to threaten the realigns, as T. Stark suggests. Guatemala also makes sense even with Central scored. Uruguay also makes sense. Somebody's got to take Uruguay. Decall is a problem here. Keeping China perhaps a little less of a priority now with Gunman gone. But you always want to have China in the late war if you can. Ooh, that is very interesting. Warsaw punted for ops on turn 7. This, I don't, boy, I might think about this being Poland. Not sure what the Belarusian hand looks like, but I don't think they would have jammed like that if Belarus had a known 3-op. We know OAS, no, they do have a known 3-op. OAS is in the Belarus hand. I'm not remembering what else. Okay, so they do go set up the Nigeria realigns as well as the Mexican realigns. Okay, that's what it was. They wanted to get Che out of the Belarus hand before they puppeted. Okay, that I did not understand that play. Now I do. Because Che would have been an excellent counter to puppets. Okay, that makes all the sense in the world. Okay, and here we have a Europe attack hand. We've got Chernobyl and we've got Teardown. And some decent ops here. Not fantastic, but decent. Canadians perhaps wishing they had stomached decall and held EEU. Because that would make this almost the perfect Europe attack. Well, that is not so great. That's probably exactly the card the Canadians didn't want to see. And they'll headline Duck to dodge war games. That is certainly disappointing. And they'll give up the full 6 on Reformer. And Belarus goes very conservative with it. Oh, and they dump Europe. Oh, that's just brutal. And they'll pick up 6 VPs and a Dom in the headline. Oh, boy. Well, the Dom, Reformer Dom flip like that is just hideous. Canada vainly looking for cards that are going to get them back in this game, and they will not find them. So Europe would have been just 1. Instead, it's 6. And not only that, they really neuter the potential Chernobyl play. Still, though, Middle East and Asia looking good for Canada. They need to find something to flip in Africa. And again, Junta, ABM, Brush, all gone. All seen turn 7, all in the Canada hand. Yeah, and that will stop the realigns. Question is, do you just flip Nigeria here? I think you do. And Glasnost is unplayable. It has to be spaced for the 3 VPs. I think it would probably be spaced anyway, even if it were not active, given the VP situation. Evil Empire could be big, but isn't yet. Formosan, not that big a deal. But okay, the Canadians are able to flip over Nigeria. And I wonder, yeah, they need a coup. And take a 3-op coup? Could just take a 2-op coup on Saharan, but obviously a miss is a disaster. After you work so hard to flip. Boy, and they're going to use Teardown for this. So Chernobyl and Teardown both going for ops. Disappointing, as Canada may have been thinking about Europe control there with this hand. South African unrest is merely annoying. Now we will see the coup. Presumably we'll see. Okay, and there's 1 VP just to overprotect. Glasnost has to go to space. Will they hit it this time? They will not. So War Games probably still remains in play. And a 5-year plan of OAS. So it doesn't really matter. I would not put both in one spot. I think that's a mistake. That's a frustration play. Yeah, that is a frustration play by Canada. Mistake. They needed to put one into Chile or one into somewhere else so that to give themselves more NORAD targets. And they only gave themselves one. I think that's a mistake, although a small one. Okay, here we go to turn 9. And the Canadians, once again, pick up Africa scoring. They do not have Dom, though, thanks to that South African unrest play. Grain seemed like the obvious headline here, and if they have war games, then they have it. Although, worth noting that Belarus is in the bear trap. Oh, that's not too much fun. Oh, and Brezhnev, not ever a card you want to pick up with Grain. That's just brutal. Giving him a full turn of Brezhnev while you're purged. When they're trapped, letting them discard 1-ops to the trap. Oh, that's just brutal. This is just one influence. They can't even take Dom back. They have to. They can take South Africa and then coup something. Yeah. Woof. If they're worried about war games, they can take Brezhnev, go South Africa, Saharan. That gives them Dom, then score on AR1, but you're still giving up a coup there, and you really don't have a path to winning this game before like if you give up Nigeria, that's a huge problem if you want to win this game in final. And the power cards all in the discard. Thinking about a 2-op coup here. Need a 5. That's not good enough. Purge or no purge. Okay, they miss the roll. So this will take Africa Dom for sure. I personally would take a Southeast Asian country here. You only have 7 countries, so if you could lose both of those. If you lose both Vietnam and Indonesia, you run the risk of losing your Asia Dom, but I can see why they have other priorities. Maybe West Germany is the play here. Maybe Canada. Or it's just this. Shuttle could be an important event, though, in the Middle East. It's not going to do much in Asia, but could be important in the Middle East. Okay. So Belarus still in the trap. Oh, still in the trap. Okay. Yeah, now Canada, they don't have to score Africa, but I think I still would. Right? If you don't score Africa now, you have to do it as soon as they come out of the trap. Why is that happening before Africa being scored? Wow, Belarus misses again. Okay, doesn't matter. Canada gets another miss on the trap. My goodness. So that's AR 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's 4 consecutive misses on the trap. This can discard No, they're not going to discard Muslims. They're presumably going to space Muslims, hold libs. This kind of takes away any chance you have of flipping one of these countries, though, with Brush gone. I wonder if you try realigns here in Mexico. Oh, okay. Finally out. after 5 rolls, missing almost an entire turn. And now I wonder if we'll see the NATO realigns in Mexico and maybe Venezuela. But you have no follow. Even boy, 6 is so many, and you have no follow up even if you get them out. This is a Hail Mary play. Yeah, it doesn't work. And even if they got them out, Belarus would just coup Colombia, and then you don't have ops to take it with. Muslims got to go to space. AWACS was dumped into the trap, so you're not getting that. And they're hoping, I guess, Belarus has the scoring, and they do not. So there goes the hostage crisis. This has to be spaced. Will Canada hit the roll? Finally, they will not. My goodness, cannot catch a break on the space race, although they can't complain about rolls with that turn. Okay, here we are, turn 10. Terrorism is around. Aldrich is around. Not a lot of ops here. Don't know that this is a winning hand. That hostage crisis was huge. It's a particular problem if the Belarusians have terrorism, because that can steal the last play. Pershing stops NORAD. Solidarity doesn't do much. North Sea does next to nothing if Belarus has one of the hand cutters. Star Wars could pull grain, but the Belarusians have China. Star Wars could pull Purge. I think this is fine. This will go Canada, West Germany, and I don't even know. It doesn't matter. It goes Turkey. Star Wars will pull Junta. Need a 5 here, and they get a 1. Okay, so Canada now hoping to get realigns in Venezuela, flipping South America, or rather evening out South America, but you still have the problem of Europe and the Middle East. And now the question is, what scorings are in Belarus's hand? Belarus with a 6 VP lead. They dominate Europe, although that's reasonably easily fixed, particularly with Solidarity in hand. They dominate the Middle East, and that's unscored. They're ahead battlegrounds in South America. They're in better position in Central. And it's just so much Canada needs to do. And Canada needs Belarus to have Asia, not Middle East, not South America, a bunch of garbage. And then they also need to hit these realigns in South America and in Mexico. But yeah, just no ops here as well. Camp David, interestingly, Camp David could be a good AR-7 play because Camp David stops Middle East Dom. It's a VP, breaks Israel, and stops Middle East Dom. Solidarity could be a good AR-7 play, if assuming you fix up West Germany, because that breaks Poland. But just garbage ops across the board, and you can't space any of these 2s. There's a UN. Okay, yeah, they're just going to take Dom and Central. Yeah, and you've got no choice here but to just realign. You have to realign and hit these rolls, and that's a miss. And that's another miss. Terrorism is GG, particularly hitting those cards. Okay, so the Belarusians take this one. And a good fight from the Canadians, but just not able to to overcome, despite getting all 3 power cards. Couldn't really get much of anything. Venezuela they still cannot flip over Venezuela. So the Canadians will fall to 1-1 in the Nations Cup. Belarus improves to 1-0. This is their first game. Canadians have to give up libs. Not particularly painful with Panama. Panama already overprotected, but they're definitely going to get dominated there. You could realign here. You realign Panama at +2. Yep, that's no. That's I was thinking you could realign Panama at +2. Yeah. Oh, Aldrich late. That is an extremely late Aldrich. And so now Canada's going to miss 2 ARs at the end of the game. You going to hit these real rolls finally, Canada? Oh, hey, they finally hit the rolls. But they don't even have time to fill up Venezuela. Camp David might be an event. And Willie is also, that's also the 7th VP, so this could be War Games, and that could be that. Nope, no War Games, so War Games doesn't come out, and Belarusians get there. And Belarus presumably will take Uruguay for Dom in South America. Yep, okay, and they are going to stop Dom in Asia. Oh, and they did have Asia. Okay, so they do have to give up those VPs. All right, Max Goldman, Brad the Real McCoy, and Ajoy Chuck Rabardi. Suffering the loss here to Team Brazil, so a well-fought game, but ends up they come up just short, even though their preferred scoring comes up. Aldrich and Terra turn 10. Just too much for the Canadians to handle. So, thank you very much for giving it a watch on this Monday afternoon. Well, that's going to do it until tomorrow when I'll be back with an OTSL game against Chris Dolliver. But until next time, this is Justin Abramson signing off. That was fun, but now it's done. So long, everybody.